right, before we get started, man, 60 years ago, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, better known as Malcolm X, was assassinated 60 years ago today. And if you know me, you know I was born in Harlem, so he's just one of the great men, you know what I mean, that's walked the earth. So Team Hawthorne, we celebrate him in the household every year. And last year we had a Russell in the backyard. Only knows who we going to have this year. But in the meantime, in between time, the floor is yours, young man.
Okay.
Harvard, Notre Dame at Harvard, Westlake.
I think Coach Vivo had a bad coaching night. I think Notre Dame came more prepared than Harvard Westlake.
Really? Mm-hmm. Elaborate. Sit up and elaborate on that.
They probably got there before Harvard Westlake. Probably more locked in. Probably came together. Yeah, and Harvard Westlake just came out like they didn't look good. They went on like a 6-0 run, but after that it was just Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, and like we talked about at the beginning of the year, man, like Harvard Westlake
got lucky. Like they never played a full team.
Yeah, they've never played a full team, and I said it. I said it, and people probably thought I was crazy because there's rankings that got them number 1 and number 2 best team in the country, but they're a very vulnerable top seed. That's what I said going into the open division, and just they never played a full team. Leno wasn't healthy. The kid from J. Sarah wasn't healthy. Sierra Canyon's best player transferred. Windward's best player wasn't there, and there was one more team. But at the end of the day, they never played. Crespi too. Yeah, Peyton White wasn't there. So and it's not that they would beat them. It's not that they would lose the game, but you don't get those calluses for the year. You know what I mean? You don't get that full preparation. What's your takeaways? You was rooting for Notre Dame, and we got to give ourselves credit because we said at the beginning of the year Notre Dame was better than Harvard Westlake. You know, and the season goes like this, up and down, left and right. And I know people are going to say, oh, we beat Notre Dame twice. No, you didn't. You didn't beat Notre Dame twice because they wasn't healthy. You know, Leno didn't play in both games, you know, and the second game was a nail biter. So, but what's some of the takes from you from the Notre Dame side?
Notre Dame?
What did they do well?
The first 5 minutes, they just got into their sets. They had 3 shots in a row off their sets.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. Notre Dame came prepared. They were up 7-13. And then the refs interjected themselves in the game.
Oh, my God.
The refs. And you know, I try and stay away from that, you know, but it was...
you can't. It was like La Mirada, Notre Dame.
Dog. Like, it's like, damn, like, it's, I mean, it was atrocious. It was 2 calls where the ball literally went out. It was so bad that Harvard Westlake was walking back in the first half. They were walking back. And then the ref said, stay here. I mean, Harvard Westlake's ball. And then the second half.
So, like, Leno passes the ball, like, post entry, gets deflected. Like, Amir has it, juggles the ball to bounds.
Yeah, it was at least 5 to 7 calls. I need to rewatch the game at some point. I probably won't rewatch the game. But it was just too many calls, man. That Asian ref, man, he was atrocious, dog. That Asian ref was horrific, dog. I'm gonna keep it real. If Rabibo and Harvard Westlake are not getting the favor of that whistle, it's a 15-point win for Notre Dame, right? Because it was 7-13. The ball goes out of bounds. It should be Notre Dame ball.
They would have scored too.
They may have scored. We don't know. But Zach White picks up 2 consecutive fouls on the very next possession for Harvard Westlake, and he has to go sit down for 4 minutes. For Notre Dame, thank you. So, and he has to go sit down for 4 minutes. But what's some of the things that Harvard Westlake did well tonight?
Nothing.
Nick had a huge first half.
Yeah,
Nick had 20 in the first half.
But he's Nick. He's not in shape. He fell apart in the second half.
He slowed down in the second half. I would agree with you. He slowed down in the second half. And you can see it because he settled for like a 24-foot step back three. He missed 2 layups, got bailed out on one of the layups.
Oh, my.
It was bad. He missed the layup, and the ref called it a second. Man, it was just bad. It was just bad. But I'm going to say something, and only basketball players understand what I'm saying because we got a lot of emotional people in here that may listen. But I'm going to say this. Rebibo's stubbornness. I thought he was stubborn. Remember at the beginning of the season when I told you guys, in order for Harvard Westlake to go where they need to go, they got to play Cole and Pierce. There's 2 teams you got to beat. You got Sierra Canyon's number. You got St. John Bosco's number over the years. There's 2 teams you got to beat, and you have to prepare your team to beat them. That's Roosevelt and Notre Dame at the beginning of the year, right? We had Roosevelt number 1, Notre Dame number 2, Harvard Westlake, Sierra Canyon, everyone else filling out the. That's how we had the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah.
And he should have prepared them because I thought in order for them to go where they needed to go, I thought you got to play Cole and Pierce together. You may have to drop Dom. You may have to drop Amir. And Nick has to play the 5. And Joe Sterling has to play the 4. Similar to how Roosevelt plays.
Braden Burry's the 5.
Braden Burry plays the 5.
Isaac Williamson the 4.
Yeah, exactly. Isaac Williamson plays the 4. And because of his, now it's work. Now, sometimes you can hide your weaknesses and wins, right? And by no means, see, people are going to take this out of context. They're going to say, oh, nah, he's a far better coach than me. I'm just a Monday morning quarterback. And I watched the game with my 2 eyes. And yes, he's won championship. By no means am I comparing to that. But the fact that you knew it was a 70-point game. You knew you had to score in the middle of the third quarter. You know it's a 70-point game. Like, we got to score 70 to win this game. And you don't play Cole and Pierce. I just think that's just stubbornness on his part, you know. And that was the biggest difference in the game, you know. He did it late, but you did it out of anxiousness. You didn't do it out of game planning. And in order for you to do that, you have to prepare. Half your league, you can prepare for it. You got St. Francis, you got Loyola, you got Chaminade, and there's some, and your non-league games. Like, you had a lot of non-league games that you could have dropped Dom in the starting lineup and played this lineup to get there, right? It's similar to how I coach y'all. I could play 2-3 zone, right?
Yeah.
I could play 2-3 zone and muck the game up and put him at point, and we 8 deep. You know what I mean? We 8 deep, but I choose to prepare y'all for games like tonight. You get what I'm saying? And I thought through the course of the season, he should have been preparing for Notre Dame and Roosevelt. I'm going to tell you a story because I read this book by Mitch Albom, I think his name was, the Fab Five. When Steve Fisher went to visit his dad. Steve Fisher was the coach of Michigan in the 90s, right? And he was the interim coach that became the head coach. And he had the Mr. Basketball of Michigan as the starting point guard, right? Mm-hmm. And his dad said before he passed away, he was in the hospital. He said, you need to start the starting 5. In order for where you need to go this season and moving forward, you need to start the starting 5. It's Fab 5 freshmen. You need to start 5 freshmen. And you know what he did? He started the freshmen. He started Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Jalen Rose, Jimmy Jackson, and Ray Jackson. So that's just my take on it. I thought your boy Lino Marks played exceptionally well.
He made a big difference in the game.
Big difference. He's a high major D1 point guard. You know what I mean? He's a high major. Tyron Stokes was huge.
His pick and roll game was amazing.
He was getting in the paint off that spin dribble. He likes that spin dribble. You know, he's getting in the paint. And they did a great job at attacking in the carpool lane. And what I mean in the carpool lane is Harvard Westlake is strong from elbows up, right? Yeah. So you get the DHO, you get the screen and roll, and you attack from the carpool lane. You attack from that if that fourth quarter. If you got quadrants, right? If you got quadrants, that fourth and first quadrant on the basketball court, and they did an exceptional job running their sets from that quadrant. But just a phenomenal job they out-talent them. They outsped them. Go ahead.
It was obvious that both teams slowed down. Notre Dame couldn't even get in their sets in the second half. But Tyron Stokes, 14 rebounds in the second half?
Probably. He was huge, man. He was like a man amongst boys, you know. He was grabbing the rebound and just holding it up, and he's a specimen. He's a specimen. And I know the average eye don't see it. Oh, he needs to work on this. He needs to work on that. But when you can pencil a guy in for a double-double every night, 18 points, 13 rebounds, 21 points, 16 rebounds, that's insane, So just an exceptional job overall. But you were exactly right. We had Roosevelt 1, Notre Dame 2 at the end of the season. We ended up being right. It was a road to get there, but...
Did Roosevelt beat Sierra Canyon?
I don't know. We should have checked before we start this video. But what's your final take?
What I think, if you look at assists, rebounds, turnovers, it was in a close game.
Really? Mm-hmm. I just think that they out-athletic them. They out-foot sped them up. That's not a term, but foot speed, athleticism was the difference in the game. Cole and Pierce should have been in the game, dog. You should have prepared them for this game.
You mean by stubborn? Coach Revivo trusts his first game plan. Yeah.
You got to change it. Here's what I said. I said the same thing about the coach from Cathedral. Why are you looking at the paper? The game is right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Rabibo's looking at a paper. No, the game is right in front of you. It's a foot speed game. It's the first to 70 tonight. You know how you don't know Ralph Lawler. First to 100 wins the game. No, this game is going to 70. You get what I'm saying? No, you got to put some foot speed in there, and you got to look Cole in the eye and say, you got to box out and you got to rebound. You can't gamble. Stay in front of your man. And guess what he did?
Everything but that?
No, he got it. Remember, Bowman. He guarded Bowman and got a turnover at the half-court line.
Yeah, I remember that.
You see what I'm saying? So,
and then,
and then I didn't like the fact that he blamed Cole for that pass on the sideline right in front of us that went out of bounds. He brought in the other big man. It wasn't his fault. I think he passed it to Joe Sterling or somebody like that. I thought Joe Sterling dropped the ball. Yeah. That wasn't Cole's fault. But I don't know their relationship, so I guess it's easier to blame the underclassmen. But anyways, man, right? You get what I'm saying? That wasn't Cole's fault. It was a good pass. The kid should have been strong enough to catch. It's a big physical game, open division. I think we've said a lot. But congratulations to Notre Dame.
Tyron Stokes is kind of running his mouth after that.
Oh, yeah. He's hyped. He's happy. So, congratulations to Notre Dame. We'll see how Harvard Westlake looks in state. I think they got a foot speed problem.
Yeah, and Nick, he was hooking to get around people.
Yeah. And he has an off season to get better in terms of his foot speed. But I thought Nick was amazing in the first half. He needed some help. They got some timely threes from Amir and Isaiah. Tied up the game, but we knew the game was going to 70. Anyways, man, rest in peace, El Haj Malik El Shabazz, most noble to the world, Malcolm X. Congratulations, Lincoln Team Hawthorne. We got it right. It was hard, but we got it right.
Yeah,
right.
It wasn't hard.
We picked Roosevelt and Notre Dame, the two best teams in open division. So congratulations to them. I'm real interested in state. Will Rabibo flip-flop the lineup to get quicker? What do you think? Think he'll do it?
No.
Peace.